It's your business. It's your property. Your assets are worth protecting. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services specializes in patrolling and inspecting residential or commercial property against fire, theft, vandalism, terrorism, and illegal activity. People and buildings are monitored to prevent crime. Keep your property, your people, and your assets safe from threat. Our elite staff are dual licensed private investigators and security guards. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services. Go to blacklightiss.com.
The same thing that draws aliens to our planet is the same thing that draws us to others. Exploration, curiosity, sustainability of life, that's why we go. It would make sense as to why they're visiting here.
Travis! Quit playing around, man! Get back here! Travis!
The last thing I remember was this numbing shock. Stunning sort of a feeling. Very powerful.
Get away from me!
I was just out of my mind with fear, just screaming the whole time.
It's been theorized that aliens prefer remote areas because they don't want to attract attention. Whatever it is that they're doing, they would want to do that in a less populated area. There are multiple accounts of the same thing from people from all over the world. People that do not know each other, do not live in the same cultures, and they're all looking up, they're all seeing things in the sky. So it would be naive of us to think that we're...
Ryan is one of Canada's leading new UFO investigators. He conducts and oversees UFO investigations on a constant basis and was really taken by his research. He's compiled a tremendous amount of data regarding UFOs in Canada. And just as interesting, he really goes over how UFO investigations are done and what are some of the mistakes that people make when they submit evidence. Note for starters, don't edit your videos or photos before you send them. If you want to hear more follow-up conversation between Ryan and myself, you can go to richardolanmembers.com, where we have a candid conversation on ufology, the paranormal, and more. And remember, while we learn and grow and search for the truth, let's be good to each other.
Welcome to the Observation Deck, a state-of-the-art, one-of-a-kind virtual platform that takes video conferencing to the next level by using avatars to navigate a campus, just like you would in real life. First, you install the application and design your very own unique avatar. Then you're free to explore the various areas of the campus at any time from anywhere. There's so many areas and activities to choose from on the platform. There's a 1,000-seat auditorium, a large expo hall, a movie theater, a nightclub, an art gallery, and even a beach. Come attend a conference or take a class or hear a lecture. Meet new friends and interact directly with presenters. It's all right here on the incredible Observation Deck campus. Where in the world will you go?
Have you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you? You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today by going to tesacan.org/EA. That's TESACAN.org/EA.
We're almost at the end of E-Day. Thank you for sticking around. In this segment, Jon Majerowski will sit down with Ryan Stacey to discuss ufology in the USA and compare it with newly released secret documents Ryan retrieved from the Canadian government. In addition, Jon and Ryan will compare each country's strategy on the subject to understand more about the phenomenon. Jon works in information security by day and searches for the truth at night. Jon Majerowski, via Phenomenology, Ufology, and Hermetic Mysteries, studies connections between consciousness and UFOs. Jon is a third-degree Master Mason, 32nd Scottish Rite Freemason, AASR 4th grade Rosicrucian, S.R.I.C.F, and Capitular Masonry, Royal Archmasons Cryptic Masonry, Royal and Secret Masons member of the Zenobia Shrine. If you like what you hear and what Tessa is doing, a super chat is a great way to show your support and appreciation for what we are doing. And we are only accepting super chat questions for today. Those are the only ones that will be answered. And all proceeds will go back into the mission that is Tessa. Half of the money that is raised today will be donated to the Shriners Children Hospital. So if you can, please donate, and thank you. Stay tuned for the end of this segment and to get your magic letter for the Experiencer Mystery Box magic word. And I'll be in the observation deck during this episode, so please come find me in the expo hall for discussion and anything you want to know about Tessa. I can be your guide. Jon will present his exciting unveiling of UFOs Without Borders for the first time on Tessa. So please give him a warm Tessa welcome. Welcome, Jon Majerowski.
Wow, Cece, thank you so much. That was rad. You've been doing an amazing job all day. I know it's a big thing you guys have been doing. Thank you very much. So yeah, UFOs Without Borders. Ryan reached out to me a few months ago, and we've been talking, and Ryan's a brother of mine, and obviously Canada and the U.S. share a border, and we share more than that. But what we don't like to share a lot of is our information about UFOs back and forth. It's not happening. And if it is, it's happening way below the level. So we have made it our mission to create this new international, and that's not just about Canada and the United States, it's about the world. We want to do something called UFOs Without Borders. I think it's going to be rad. What we want to do is engage every country, regardless of where you're geographically located, and we want you to come to us, hang out with us. Let's work together. Let's figure out what's going on in your country, what's going on in our country, and how we can make it work for the world. Ryan's been doing an amazing job with Tessa. Everything's been going awesome. You guys are doing really well. I've been listening to the testimony and all that you guys have been doing today. It's been pretty amazing. I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited that there's so many people coming out and talking about all these things and getting out in the public and just doing it. And I appreciate all of you. I know it takes a lot of guts to get up and do what you do, and you're doing it. And that's amazing. And I applaud you. Ryan, I couldn't have been here without you. Thank you very much for doing it. There's some exciting news that happened in the U.S. and recently, within the last hour or so. So it's been going on for a few months, and everything's been here with eyes on the U.S. But look at that. It pops right up. So check this out. I want to point out that this starts on the NDAA on page 1492. So what's the symbology and significance of that? So 1492 is the page to start. Go to page 1492. What happened then? So check this out. This is legit. The Gillibrand Amendment passed. And if you just look down here, I think it's the second paragraph where it's like, this is what she said. This is her quote. Our national security efforts rely on aerial supremacy, and these phenomena present a challenge to our dominance over the air. Staying ahead of UAP sightings is critical to keeping our strategic edge and keeping our nation safe. And this is Senator Gillibrand here, if you didn't know. She said, my amendment will establish a formal office to report and respond. So they're going to report and respond to UAPs and give us the scientific capabilities needed to track and share data, investigate sightings, and develop a response to this growing security threat. The United States needs a coordinated effort to take control and understand whether these aerial phenomena belong to a foreign government or something else altogether. I am proud to have worked alongside Congressman Gallo, and I probably pronounced that wrong, to include this amendment that will help remove the stigma surrounding UAPs, protect our nation, and keep those who serve safe. Amazing. So Senator Gillibrand comes out of nowhere. It's the Hail Mary pass, hits us. This lands the NDAA, which is the National Defense Authorization Act, I think. I'm almost probably sure. Page 1492. Why does it 1492? It's like the Columbus thing. Why is that an issue? It's causing me to have a beverage. Brother, are you there? Can you come in and talk to me about this fun stuff, and let's talk about Canada?
I'm just sitting here. I know you're struggling. You originally wanted to come in with me at the same time, but you did great. Thank you so much.
No, I know. Ryan gave me. He's like, you're just going to come in and then you're going to bring me in.
And
I was like, what? How long can you last? How long can you last? And I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. Until I needed a breath and a sip of whiskey, but. Mazel tov, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I just learned this information an hour or two. I saw it while we were in the middle of the thing, and I was kind of scrolling through.
1492. Why is it page 1492?
Is there
well, yeah, Columbus. Yeah, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Yeah, I don't really think so. Columbus wasn't the first guy here. I mean, another brother of ours, Scott Walter, talking about some truth about, how long people from Europe have been in America, and it's been a really long time. And we have documents to prove it. We have artifacts to prove it. It's amazing, but everybody doesn't want to believe it. But
so what I thought was interesting here was these specific things that were established there down at the bottom.
Give it to me.
Well, you read it. You got it. I'm looking at a tiny screen.
I'm looking at. Oh, yeah. All right. So, as an established in the NDAA, the UAP office will give the task of providing a full spectrum of intelligence, scientific, and technical assessments related to UAPs, including, but not limited to, collection and analysis of data into a central repository, establish a science plan, build a national priorities intelligence framework, evaluate any links between UAPs and foreign governments or non-state actors. That's a really interesting word there, non-state actors. And report to Congress, which is a huge one. So the UAP office will be required to provide unclassified annual reports to Congress and classified semi-annual briefings on intelligence analysis, reported incidents, health-related effects made it into the bill, and the role of foreign governments and nuclear security. Throw that right on the end there. Nuclear security, right? That's a big deal. Anywhere you get the Department of Energy, you're going to have UFOs in the United States. It's like the little known fact. It's like maybe the worst kept secret. Who knows? But that's kind of what's happening. The Department of Energy has like oversight and overreach over everything. And if there's any type of UFO stuff going on, they're involved. So that's a real big deal, and it's kind of overlooked. But I didn't go through that. I was just reading the bullet points there. But there's some really, the DNI is required to consult with the Secretary of Defense to assign a level or priority within the National Intelligence Priorities Framework related to UAP. So they haven't really even set. We're gonna create this as they go, which is awesome. So the science, they're going to have the UAP will be responsible for implementing a science plan to test scientific theories related to UAP characteristics and performances. So a part of this too is back engineering. And I know that's been tossed around, but think about that. I mean, there's a lot to be said in this thing that's kind of implied, that's not really fully stated, but I'm really shocked and surprised that it got through. I mean, I called my senators, my congressmen, and was like, hey, this is something important. I wrote, I tweeted, I emailed, I did all of those things and tried to get everybody else to do it too. And I don't know, maybe it works. Maybe they're listening. I think maybe enough of us are out there doing it, and which is rad. I mean, all it takes is one person. You just can't sit there and be like, man, I'm not going to do it. Nobody's going to do it. You just got to pick up the phone and do it. Right, Ryan?
Well, yeah, I've always seen that tactic myself as being a little aggressive, but you are right. Like, I mean, unless you do it, it's like buying a lottery ticket. You don't buy, you don't win. So like, there, like, so it's not really a bad thing. It's just, you get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar, right? So like it,
Right.
so, and that's kind of the approach I'm having with Canada. With Canada, I seem to be having a good relationship with our sources and people here by being nice to them and not being aggressive, where everyone
Oh,
else is like just like give me this and do me this. And
oh
you're
no, no,
lying.
no, and I wasn't going along that. Right? I know there's that whole aspect. I'm just straight up from the analytical standpoint of just calling me like, hey, this is important to me, and I'm
And you did it. And
I'm
I
your
saw those
constituent.
posts. And it depends on your wording. So the way you worded it, as an example, was polite, was specific, straight to the point. And that's what we want. The problem that we have though is some people are aggressive with it, and
Oh.
and very So you take the same tool and the same tactic and you do these things, but then you don't want to piss off these people if you really want them to to do these things for you. But the concept and all that other stuff too. So what I'm seeing here, again, I haven't broke it down
Yeah.
in detail either. Is it looks like everything that could be encompassed around the UFO phenomenon will
Pretty
be
much.
revealed at a later time,
Mhm.
assuming that there is data that exists for them to report. So do you think that the party that it has to report is going to report any of these things? Or they're just going to say they didn't find anything and we looked?
Well, I mean, there's the double-edged sword, right? I mean, that could
Yeah.
happen. They've already done that, right? So the one that came out in June, right? The 144, and they were able to, one was a weather balloon, which is perfect, right? They didn't say weather balloon. They worded it a little bit more, obscure, so nobody would have that. But I mean, if they come out with this and tell us it's swamp gas, people will be pissed. Yeah, you know what I mean?
But it could also be true. It could be true.
Yeah. But if you have 144 cases of swamp gas and 2 balloons and that's what they're going to come out with, I mean, I'm just saying. I think that people there's more eyes on it now. Anyway,
What was established is that there was enough buzz, there's enough media, someone
Right.
had to do something.
Right.
There was enough attention, and they admitted that they didn't have enough technology or the data to even take it serious at this point. So then, therefore, something got the best of them, and now we need to take a better approach. So I guess what's happening is great because we're having this conversation. It's out in the media. Canada's talking about it too, like things like that as well, which is something that hasn't really been done, at least on this side of the border. But again,
Mexico's not saying shit, are they? I'm just saying. I'm sorry.
Other countries aren't saying anything either, but we need to talk to those people too.
That's what I'm saying. We're right here. We share a landmass. It's like,
Well, yeah. Well, that's why it's UFOs without borders, because these UFOs should travel. I mean, without I don't imagine they have the same vaccination passport kind of crap that we got to go through.
Yeah, but when they look down, they don't see the line between the U.S.
No,
and
there is
Canada.
no line. There is no border. It's invisible. So to give context, the Canadian government, whenever a UFO sighting happens or something is explained, they have to complete. If an investigation is done, they do a service report, which is communications for intelligence, vital intelligence sighting or something. Communications report. Something like that. All those words in the right order.
Yeah.
That report, I'm tired. It's the end of the day. But anyways, the purpose of that document is they complete it to let NORAD know and pass that off to
America
to continue the investigation.
So we're just tracking them across borders. So here you go. It's coming at you, right?
So we get it. Here's the information. This is our part. Here you go. We understand that. So I do know that Canada. I don't know. It's presumed that Canada isn't doing the investigations because they're counting on, or perhaps they realize that the United States is taking care of it. So on our end, there's a lot of that we don't care. It doesn't matter, whatever. And I just don't know if that's because we're at the Cold War together. So I don't know if they know stuff.
What do you mean? The Cold War together with who?
Well, I mean, like we all lived in the same time frame at that time. We all understand what was happening. So if the technology exists, then everybody knows,
right?
So whatever secret was covered up then, all of the countries in the United Nations at the time would have been in on it. So if the agreement at the time was to pass the information over to carry on, that's why it's important to us too, because perhaps we'll get information that helps us over on this side.
Yeah, no, totally. But like, you guys are so quiet. That's the thing, man. I mean, like, and I don't know.
Really.
Well,
Canada declassified 9,500 documents in 1995. So the National Research Council handed over those documents to the Library of Archives in Canada.
nice.
They're available. People can get them. Some of them are locked up and you can't get. You got to do a Freedom of Information request. And if you get a document, you read it, look for the evidence. You can do an ATI for that. We can do that. So if you're doing that, we can help you with that. But I've always said disclosure has happened. I do not think that the Canadian government released everything. No one has combed through every single document. No one has triangulated everything. No one has put the pieces together like we have. And in this short period of time, we're able to kind of figure out a pattern and go through that. And we got thousands and thousands of documents to do it in that way. That's never been seen.
Right.
And part of that is sharing those documents with you in future episodes, because I don't have any in front of me to go off of. So we're just talking in general. To compare that to your cultural events that are happening, because I know a lot about what's happening here. You know a lot about what's happening there.
Right.
I just get my information about the United States from the news if I feel like watching it. You know, you got that's a good game show. You know, you can watch that stuff going on up here in these igloos. Hey, so yeah. But this is the thing: is I look at it as the Tower of Babel. So imagine like back in the day when everybody knew everything, and we had this tower, and we're reaching up, Nimrod, and all that stuff, the Masonic teachings. Okay.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they separated us. And these borders are separated, and we are separated. We are governed different ways. We have different provinces. We call them provinces. That's a hard word to say. You call them states. Same thing, just little imaginary lines that separate things. But we aren't working together,
Right.
in the way that we should. Now there's the concept, there's the talk, and all these other. I'm sure people do, but in such a way where we're comparing documents, government documents, to understand what's going on.
Right.
So I feel like bits and pieces of the information are out there, hidden in plain sight. So there's another Masonic pull there. And what we have to do is we have to put the pieces together, and then have conversations like this and be like, and see how it compares.
Right.
The answers are there. Just no one is doing the work.
Well, Jacques Vallée, oh man, so he's a computer guy, and he's been since forever, right? And I can't remember what podcast I was listening to, but he was talking. But somebody's talking about he was talking about the database he created, and he was basically created like a giant database. To explain it simply, is just like there's a whole bunch of disparate databases, right? So you got like the Canadian database and the United States and like the Air Force or the civilian, whatever, right? You get all of these different things, but none of them are mapped correctly. So it's not like you could easily just jam them together. So what he did is created like a giant program that basically mapped all of the fields and then made it like a giant meta database that has all of the things, and they're all correlated, right? So at that point you could search like Colaris, right? And then like every report from like whatever would like come up through, or any type of document or whatever, any type of evidence or whatever. So he did that back in like the 60s or 70s or something like that. And they just keep feeding it. So, and I mean, when you keep listening to Long, from all the stuff he talked about in the beginning all the way up to now, I mean, a lot of it, I'd say a lot of it's come to fruition, but it's just staggered and in different orders than people are expecting. Everybody wants everything right now, but I mean, when he first came out in like 18, he said it was like a 5 to 7 year plan or something, right? I mean, so
is it active? Can we use it, or is it just still an idea?
Well, no. That's what I think. DeLong's been pulling the strings on a lot of this stuff behind the scenes, man. I think he really has. I think a lot of the stuff that he set up into place,
or something like that. Yeah,
all of that. Yeah, and the database that he was trying to do. Yeah.
So it really depends on how accessible it is. The search element. So I'll give you an example. I have some document, like you can search on our Tessa website.
Yeah.
So if I have a few keywords here, but if I were to just type, I don't know, like Winter Harbor, I guess that was something I was searching. So, the declassified documents that mention Winter Harbor, which is in BC. Yes, Winter Harbor, BC. Don't quote me.
It's right there.
Yeah, British Columbia. So they're all here. So this is a good search function for multiple databases from all these other things.
That's amazing, right?
Then you click on them. And that's what we're doing with the Canadian documents.
Yeah.
And then with your help, we'll get some of the American documents in here.
Nice.
So this is the search element among. So we got the water stamp on there because, as you know, there are a lot of people. Another part of doing this program is to kind of give more attention to the documents I do release before some journalist or some other, pretend ufologist, runs a mile with it and says that, they're not doing the work. They're just piggybacking. So we started to stamp them just to at least make it harder for them to reproduce the document.
Brother, think about what Tom, like I pulled up the first Tic Tac release or something, and DeLong had his whole TTSA logo right here.
And had he
nobody would have known it.
No one would know it's him. So it's very important. So we started to do that because I realized how shady journalists are.
It's pretty shady.
And we're all trying to get the answers, and we're not working together.
Exactly. That's what with the UFO Without Borders, man. That's what it's all about. We need to hook it up.
So what's interesting here is that they're all transcribed, so that way there's keyword search. So if you whatever your fancy is, so like it's word for word. And my team
or
on
dates,
the team,
it's perfect dates. Like somebody else said, some date correlation, things like that.
Everything's there. So this is great for a searchable database, but it's useless for investigation. So what we also do with the same documents, and I'll show you. Is so we take the information from each document and we establish points of interest. So this is something with your American documents that we could also add to these data points where it'll mention. So we have persons, we have, and I mentioned this earlier, but I want to kind of go in more detail. Where we do persons. So these are all the people that are mentioned in these documents. So you'll see some links that have more than one person.
Yeah.
And what we're starting to see is that this individual, happens to be a part of it. And I think there are some I have to do a keyword. I don't think it's going to be as easy as USA. Oh, there we go, right here. So Defense Research Board, that's what DRB stands for, liaison at Canadian Embassy in Washington, USA.
Wilbert Smith, 50, November 21st, 1950.
So you click on that, right? And then, so also it shows not just it shows places that are mentioned, where the events happened, not places they talk about, where the event happened. It shows the countries in which it happened. So with these Canadian documents, my Canadian documents, of course, it mentions all these places in Canada, but it also mentions America. It also mentions Bavaria. It also mentions Germany.
Wow.
So these are all Italy, about evidence of these crafts showing up in 1952. Poland. So this is so having a database to search and read the documents, to write books and do all that is great, but it's useless if you're doing an investigation and trying to do that. So I have no offense to the effort, but investigation is very different than research.
Yeah.
Also keeping track of organizations that are mentioned and the employees that happen to work for them, because that would become useful later when we want to get witnesses and track them down for statements. So that's just from the document, taking the information from the document, the same stuff, the same information. What we do is we build your timeline. So this is Canadian documents. We can do American documents separately, or we can do a combined one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the same documents. Everything links to the same document.
Right.
But you're starting to see it in time. So 1950, 1952, you start to see all these things happening in these patterns.
Beautiful.
So as we get a new document, no matter what year it's from, no matter what location it is, and we split it up into all these data points, we can look at the same data in different ways and start to measure different patterns. Then you can also look at our visual evidence database, which I'll need your help with, because as you can see on here, majority of the documents that have been recovered are in my country.
Mm-hmm.
And for you Americans out there that think that America is actually above Canada, I just want to show you that on this map, that we're actually above you or in front of you, depending on what map you're looking at. If you're a flat earther, we're in front of the United States. If you're a globalist, you're up there.
You're up there.
Yeah.
You got a lot of beautiful lakes.
Yeah, we do. Thank you.
That's beautiful. The whole country's beautiful.
So plotting all this data, these are the events. These are where the events take place in which these documents talk about.
They're all on the border.
It's all on the border.
You know why?
Most of them.
What do you think?
Tell me.
They like water.
They like water. Okay.
But there's not that much water in North Dakota, so I don't know what the hell's going on over there. But Yeah, I live down there, like downriver from there by the lake. Keep going south. Where that
like
4 is.
Ohio,
See that 4?
are you?
Oh, yeah, right there. That big blue 4 where your hand is. Yeah. I live, a little bit south of there.
Yeah, we can find your house from here. Where are you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Keep going. There's like 4 nuclear power plants between where that dot is. Go back up. Zoom way back out, Ryan. Just a little. So, like, keep going. That's Detroit. Keep going back. Like, out. So, there's like this around Lake Erie here. There's like nuclear power plants all up around here. There's like one in Toledo. There's one in Cleveland. There's one in between Cleveland. I don't know what you guys got going on in Canada, but that'd be a good something we need to figure out is like,
you guys got we do have some power plants up near this side too.
Yeah. So they're all in and out of that lake all the time, right in my backyard.
So interesting too. You want to talk about water here in Canada. Now, I don't have everything plotted. So as I plot everything, and that's why I mentioned this morning how we need volunteers and we need help. There's lots of things to do and we know what needs to be done. Just let us know who wants to help. Yeah, and I certainly will task you for sure. But everything pretty much.
And you'll get a cool patch. We're going to make a cool UFOs Without Borders patch that everybody gets.
I love that. Let's do that. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
So everything runs up the Ottawa River here for us. Into Canadian Forces North Bay, which is where NORAD is here for us in Ontario. So everything kind of funnels up through the lake there. So and it's also transportation. You got to remember back in 1952, they traveled by boat. So everything was done by the water anyways. That makes sense in the time.
Yeah.
Ottawa is our home base for our government, capital, I should say. Where is it? Quebec is over there. Bonjour. It's hard. Oh yeah, here's Ottawa here.
What about the French Canadians, Ryan? Tell me about them.
Well, they're difficult to work with sometimes. There's that language barrier, sometimes we speak different languages. But there are some very good. There's a lot of sightings happening in Quebec too, and if you look at the history, Quebec from what I'm understanding, was one of the first establishments. Like it's old, so everything is funneling through here. So everything here along the Ottawa River. These are UFO documents from the government that are there, plus civilian. I also add civilian cases too.
Great.
But I want to kind of show you. So we kind of go up the Ottawa River towards Montreal and Quebec. Keep following that all the way up. There's Quebec there.
We're getting a good geography lesson, everybody, as well. I just
top,
want to say, even if you're here for anything else, we're having a great geography lesson, Ryan.
And then we come out to Newfoundland over here, or Newfoundland, which is Oak Island, Nova Scotia down here.
Oh gosh, I don't want to hear about Oak Island again. That thing was drained of money in the 1700s.
I'm just saying, you're coming out into the water. Okay. And then talk about water. And then this is why it's important, because what's going on over here in Africa, what's going on over here in Europe, what's going on up here in Greenland, all this other stuff.
I want to talk to somebody from down in South America. I know people in Peru and Brazil, they'd be seeing it every day.
How about Argentina?
Argentina, all of that
the closest place to the Antarctic circle.
Yeah,
I want to find someone who lives here. And I want them to stand on this island right here. And I want
it's called Oak Island.
It's not. It's called Isla Hornus. I want you to go there if you're listening, or find someone listening, and I want you to face south. And I want you to take a picture of Antarctica. That way we can prove once and for all
two things. One, the world is not flat, and two, that there's Antarctica.
Yeah. Or the other way around, depending. We need evidence. We need someone to sit there. That's just.
I haven't been there. I've talked to some people who've been there.
Has.
And I talked to a guy one time that was upset because he didn't get sent there. He was mad. He was like in some military thing, some contractor thing, and he wanted really to go somewhere, and they were like, "No, you can't go." And he's like, "Man," because he said that's where all the action is. I don't know what that means.
But I also want to show you another interesting point too. If we look at a globe map here. Because that's just a flat map.
But the Earth is.
Well, no, I said that's a flat map.
Okay. I don't know.
There's a flat plane. Well, it depends. Do you want to go in there? That's Masonic talk. Where do you want to? I don't know. I don't think we're allowed. So okay, so here we are. We're looking
Two
at
junior deacons are going to show up and take us out.
Yeah. Try me. Sorry, a lot of. John and I have been. It's been a long day for me. I am tired. I am sober as hell. But John, he's into it. So this is a very.
This is
good way to end the
gonna be
show.
the Dean Martin
But
of ufology all night.
Okay,
I'm
so-
say thanks for coming. Tip your waitresses
Okay, here we are with your globe Earth
and your waiters.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. I'm sorry.
So we're looking at that flat map. I'm just doing a point on perspective here.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we're looking at that flat map, it's really hard to determine where everything is because this is how the world, according to Columbus and everybody else.
No. Not Columbus.
I'm joking. So everything, this is how we kind of perceive it.
Yeah.
Still, Canada is still above the United States. Just want to make
It
that
looks
clear.
bigger.
It does look bigger, right? Because that
Well,
map
you got that big hang down in the middle though. That's with a lot of water.
So there's a different perspective, but this is what I want to show you. So for the aerial view from the top, right?
Yeah.
So we can't really see that, and this is where that flat Earth kind of model comes from because you're looking straight down on the globe.
Mhm.
It still looks the same, but what I want to kind of emphasize is when you're not looking at that other map. Let's see if I can bring the other one sideways. If you actually pay, instead of going across and thinking we're safe, and you can't see what's up top, but you don't really realize that that Alaska is also part of America. So maybe that's why you think you're there, because you're a little bit of you there.
We bought that for like 15 mules and like 10 donkeys, I think, right?
But then you got Russia here. This tiny little.
We bought it from Russia. We bought it from Russia for like $200,000.
Russia's right here. Russia is right there.
Yeah, Sarah Palin can see it from her house.
When you look at it from this perspective, right? So they can cross into America, and then they can cross into Canada, and then they can meet you back in America. So
or Greenland. Don't forget about Greenland.
Well, you can go all the way there. So the point that I'm trying to make is perspective is very important. And when we're using, we want to make sure we're using the right map. And I'm not saying, what shape the Earth is doesn't really matter in the sense of this project, but if that is the map in which everything was used at the time to create everything, that might be the map we need to use to plot our data, because it's back in ancient times. Are we using the right calendar as an example? Because we know our calendar has changed when we talk about astrology, right? So I'm not saying I endorse and believe in all these theories and stuff. What I'm saying is, if we're looking back into the future, we need to also look at what was being used, because this is new age tech, and with new age tech, is this an advancement of science? So my question to you is this an advancement of science or a further way of hiding the truth because we've become so far away from it?
Yeah, I think it's both. I mean, if you think back to what was the man? I think it was the West Hall, and what was the other big site that John Mack was down there in South Africa? I can't remember the name. People are going to yell at me. It's an easy one, but it was at the end of the Phenomenon, James Fox's movie. The kids interviewing the kids. And they were getting telepathic messages saying that we're too reliant on technology. We we need to be more in touch with nature. We're too, it's like we're destroying the planet basically, and we rely on too much technology is bad. So, I mean, that's kind of the theme that those kids had, and even like 20 years later when they interviewed them, they said the same thing. So I don't know, man. I think you're right. I think that the farther we get into technology, the further away we get from nature and like the natural world. And I think that the natural world is trying to wake us up in a lot of ways. I think there's like a lot of that spirit, like the earth spirits or whatever you want to call them, fairies or
they have
whatever,
to either
man.
all exist or they all don't exist. It can't be one or the other. So if you accept the possibilities of everything, it's just a matter of what tools we're using, what working tools do we have, and what degree are we in, and that to me is what's important. So when I do some work on with a globe map, I also do the same work on a flat map because I'm trying to see if the same tools measuring kind of line up, because there's a bunch of things, there's some things going on too, but that doesn't mean I subscribe to one or the other. It's just simply trying to understand the perspective at that time in which the data was collected. So a part of that is also why we need to have everyone from Borders. We need everyone to come together and share their stuff. Now, and it's not just UFOs though. So what are these UFOs? Are they machine? Are they light? Like what are they? What are they to you?
No, but there's ghosts and goblins and
but they're not gonna. They're not.
all that
They
stuff
don't have
happens
a UAP task force for ghosts and goblins. What are they doing? With that?
I think what's going to happen is you're just going to find out it's going to have a big intersecting line where all that's going to meet up at, and it's just going to be where that's all happening about.
Or they might cover it up, because if they say that UFOs exist or aliens exist and extraterrestrials exist, then everyone in the experiencer realm who believes in who is affected by all of the phenomenon, everything we talked about today, the ultra spectrum, they're going to assume that what has happened to them has really happened based on the confirmation of one of these elements. So how do we determine that this extraterrestrial craft that we can't identify is not associated to those phenomenons right now? Because there's a lot of experiencers thinking that if that's true, then this is true, and that causes a lot of hysteria.
That's amazing to put those two together. I mean, and that's a greatly huge overlooked thing everywhere globally, right? It's not America, it's not Canada. It's just a thing. I think that, and to look on the positive side of it, it offers a little bit of validation in terms of, maybe the greater whole of society who has no idea or doesn't care or thinks everybody's crazy or whatever, right? I think that at that point, though, it would lend some, much needed credit. I mean, people have been telling me I've been crazy all my life until the U.S. government came out and said, oh, no, here's these bunch of videos that we don't know what they are, and here's, oh yeah, we're going to go through this report. Oh yeah. And now, I've been doing this for like 30 years, and every time I've said anything about it out loud, people look at me like they're like 2 steps away from the loony bin. But I don't know. I hope
we're all a little bit crazy.
Well, yeah, but I hope that that it does that. I mean, that's the little part, but yeah, I mean, I think that's probably one of the bigger reasons too. It's been such a secret for so long. Is like, okay, this is happening. We know what's happening. We can't do anything to stop it. I'm talking about if I'm the government. We know what's going on. We can't do anything to stop it. Okay, globally, let's get together. We're gonna have like NATO get in. Okay, all of us, let's do something. We can't do anything. But if we start telling everybody about it, they're gonna get on us worse and they're gonna tear us up. So what are we gonna do? We got to be quiet. Yeah. So what if that's the thing? What if it's just the pressure where it's like, they know that they're going to start taking countries out.
There's a lot of other things that are happening. So your air forces, I was going to say Royal Canadian Air Force, which you don't have because you're not in Canada. Your American whatever Air Force. What do you call it? Just Air Force, right?
It's the Air Force, yeah. But we have the Space Force now.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is they're now Space Force. Mm-hmm. So there's already these preparations to engage the phenomenon and to at least into outer space or to the outer space and all that other stuff. But like that, are they preparing us in case they find something, or did they already find something and they're preparing us for the reveal?
Yeah, I think that's totally it. And along with this caveat is that they're doing that, and there's also a reveal that's probably going to reveal itself without their being able to stop it. Like, I think I've been lately thinking my gestalt is that there's something that's coming towards us that with like the new James Webb telescope or any of our new telescopes, the X-ray one we launched last night, a bunch of the other ones, I think that at some point and because of the privatization in other countries, we got China on the other side of the dark side of the moon rolling at that cube thing. Right now, and we got Elon Musk wanting people on Mars. We got tourists in space. Captain Kirk is hanging out. Bill Shatner's going. I mean, so it's like getting to the point where it's like everybody's got a 4K camera in their pocket. It's getting to the point where they got
someone's going to find it. Someone's going to figure it out, and then what are they going to do?
They got to be on the right side of it, right? Yep. So what's the right side of it, right? So depending on how you spin the whole thing, you can be on the right side of it or not. So that's what's happening, and I think the U.S. is doing it, and I think the rest of the world is kind of going, okay, let's watch you guys and do it. But you always get that chance that China or Russia or one of the other countries be like, hey, look, boom, we found extraterrestrials.
Well, it's just
or Canada. I'm waiting for Canada. I'm waiting for Mexico to do it because what are they doing? Mexico has an Air Force, for God's sakes. Did you know that? Mexico has an Air Force.
No. I live in Canada, and I barely know anything about USA, as you just learned in this first 45 minutes. You think I know anything about Mexico? No. I know enough, but I mean, I'm not that involved.
They actually one of the biggest flare footages ever came out of the Mexican Air Force. It was like all these lights, like they chased them forever, and you can hear it. And the first thing it was a dick move, but I was like, oh my God, Mexico has an Air Force? What the fuck?
Who was it that just recently put like ultrasonic? Was it China? Like ultrasonic missiles in what?
Yeah.
Right? It was another country.
Yeah. Hypersonic.
And because we're not like so riddle me this: are we all trying to?
That scared the bejesus out of me. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. What happened?
There's a big bunch of shit just fell off of a thing next to me.
Maybe they're onto us. That always happens when we're talking.
I know it does.
You lost my train of thought. So
I'm sorry.
Your scare face. I just can't unsee it.
I can't either.
I forget. I'm tired.
You've been doing it. What time did you start this thing?
9:00 this morning, Eastern time. Yeah, we've been at it all day. So I'm trying to sound smart here at the end of the.
You're doing great. I think you're doing great. I mean, you don't have to. I can keep talking.
Okay,
that's
go
good.
ahead.
We can just talk about the stuff we're gonna do. I really want to talk to somebody from Mexico. I want to talk to somebody from Canada. I want to talk to everybody in the NATO, right, or even not NATO. The thing that's with this Gillibrand Amendment, it says this is what's it's like. It says non-governmental agencies. Or wait a minute, it's foreign. It's like non-foreign intelligence. It's just a really weirded thing here, and I remember. What does that mean? Like that doesn't. I'm trying to get to the point where it says what it is, but it's it actually just says it's going to be coordinated with federal agencies, including the FAA and NASA, and international allies and partners on UAPs. So that's a big deal. Yeah. So evaluate any links between UAPs and foreign governments, or here's the word, non-state actors. So you evaluate any links between UAPs and foreign governments or non-state actors, which is like, it could be, that could be like Elon Musk. I mean, anybody that's an entity. I could be a non-state actor, right? I mean, I could just be outside of the purview of, like, I'm not launching my own UAPs for the U.S.
Why are they calling them actors? Like, as in fake?
I don't know. No, but I think it's because they're like players, like they're doing people that are they're part of the thing. Like they're they're doing somebody.
But actor
that's
is an interesting word to use. Like, is it a play? Is it a charade?
I'm sure it is. It's probably ISIS. It's ISIS. But it says the UAP office will be tasked with evaluating threats that UAPs may pose to the United States. Additionally, the office will be responsible for coordinating with federal agencies, including the FAA and NASA, and international allies and partners on UAPs. So international allies, which is NATO, right? I'm guessing that the international allies would be NATO, and partners. So who are the partners? The non-NATO countries, are these governmental agencies? Are these contractors, like non-governmental agencies contracting to the government so they can keep everything quiet? I mean, is it?
So when do we get the first report? A year from now, or a year from whenever they establish it?
No idea. This came out like an hour ago, but I'm guessing it's going to be annually, right? So it goes in 2022. So that hopefully, so it's going to say it's going to be twice a year, and then it says twice a year to the public, and every quarter to the Congress.
Do you have
I think.
What's the diary date? Does your Congress run like January 1st to like December 31st? Is that the calendar you use?
I think
fiscal?
So.
What's the fiscal year for that?
I think that's it. It.
Okay. All right. So.
But it says it was included in the final version. So it is included in the final version of the NDAA for 2022. So this is legit. It's out. And amendment was co-sponsored by Senator Marco Rubio, Republican from Florida, Graham, Republican from South Carolina, Heinrich is a Democrat from New Mexico, and Blunt is a Republican from Missouri, it looks like. So Pretty interesting. And Gillibrand, I mean, some people are saying that she's going to, like this might be the thing. Like what if she does this and this happens and she does, I mean, that could be a bid for her to run for office, like for president.
Like regardless of the motive, regardless of the intent, which we can't determine at this point in the game, this is still a step forward in a direction. So if it's to cover everything up, like I always joke, say it's a cover up for the cover up, because my perspective is like a bad employee or an angry employee leaks some information which they weren't supposed to, and then created big noise, and now the business has to do damage control so that doesn't happen again. And what better way but to create an organization that controls the information, and up until that annual report comes up, will determine whether or not they're going to give us information or give us nothing. And if they give us something, then that's great, because from my perspective, when I'm doing this work without anything, I have something I can compare to. It's not Canadian, but I might be able to have some correlation data or correlating data that I could compare to what could be the best credible source for the entire world in terms of the subject. So it's very, it's useful. But Canada, like that's the thing is maybe if they reveal the information with their partners and international, and the involvement to be more transparent and clear on how the governments work with each other, we have an understanding of that, then maybe all the governments can come forward, because everyone would have to be in on it. Which means everyone would have to reveal it, or everyone would have to be prepared for it.
Yeah. Here's a quote from Senator Gallego. I'm sorry, Gallego. Yeah. Based on briefings I've received as chairman of the House Intelligence and Special Operations Subcommittee, I firmly believe that the Department of Defense and the intelligence community need to come together and create a permanent, synchronized structure to collect and analyze UAP data. I'm excited that the amendment I introduced alongside Senator Gillibrand was introduced in the final version of the NDA. Rubio said, man, he's got a huge quote. Rubio likes to talk, I guess. The other dude was pretty good with it. But he said, it's my hope that the creation of the new Joint Defense Department Intelligence Community Office focused on UAPs will provide resources, analytics, and attention needed to determine what is loitering around our military training ranges. The DoD and IC need to ensure a more uniform collection strategy is in place, and that we continue to destigmatize reporting on UAPs, particularly from military aviators. Significantly, we also must maintain the transparency and accountability that my provision in last year's Intelligence Authorization Act report provided by ensuring ongoing unclassified reporting. The bicameral bipartisanship Gillibrand Amendment provides a comprehensive framework for scientific data-driven approach to get to the truth about UAPs. This is Senator Blunt. The amendment ensures that we treat UAPs as we would any potential national security threat that would enter U.S. restricted training or operational areas. So the big thing with the whole DIA came out like a couple of weeks ago and tried to come up with this sweet office with a really shitty name that nobody knew what it was, to say, hey, we're going to take care of it. They're trying we'll take care of it. It was like a Thursday night in the middle of the night that they put that out right before Thanksgiving. It was like Wednesday. It was like the Tuesday before Thanksgiving or something like that. They tried to dump that out at like 10 o'clock at night. Like nobody would pay attention, and everybody was like, this is bullshit, because all it talked about was looking at reports from military training ranges or active areas, and that's it. And then not having any type of unclassified reports to the Congress or the public or anything. It was just like, well, we got it. It was like, hey, don't worry about it. We got this thing. And everybody was like, no, hey, you guys suck. This is going to suck. And everybody blew up about it and wrote and called. And that's when I called. And now this is like what everybody wanted, because this was in the amendment. So they tried to like circumvent the whole thing and just tried to like dump a Project Blue Book 5.0 on your head, and nobody was having it. So this is actually a huge step. Be interesting to see if they go through with it.
So now, is this going to be new information moving forward, or is this going to include?
No, this is the slow drip
everything?
of the old shit that's been for forever, right? I mean, this is going to be
Oh.
just the slow drag out. This is my 2 cents, anyways. This is the slow drag out from what they've been sitting on for the past 70 years, but in a rapid pace, probably within 4 years, maybe 5 max, just to kind of get it all nailed out and down, and then whatever's going to happen is going to happen. That they can't stop from happening is that's my own personal theory, man, from everything I've been researching.
If we're ever going to be in a world where we're living with this, this is needed. It does feel like it could go either way. Like I'm from my security perspective, my analytical mind and risk assessment kind of tells me that it's still possible that they might be covering their ass because
They're covering their ass.
Information was leaked, and if revealing certain things and declassifying documents, like for an example, if I do freedom of information requests and they have to respond within 30 days unless they find something, then they find something, they request additional time up to 60 days so they can go through and redact the personal information. So they need to talk to the people. They tell me that they're going to do that, though. We found it, but it involves third parties, so we need to talk to them and get their permission.
Nice. It's so nice in Canada. You guys are so nice
So the narrative is, or from my understanding, is that the person who's involved in this is saying, no, I don't want my personal information shared, and that's why it's redacted. So
makes sense.
I can accept that as from the human perspective, but it makes it hard to understand the information that's missing. But there's a lot of goodies in there if you know what to read. And if
you guys don't have the CIA black highlighter?
No, we use white actually. It's all done white for some reason.
Wow.
But, white.
It's probably more efficient. Yeah.
Yeah, more than likely. It's
I don't
white.
know. There might be some kind of
scan.
cool stenography thing where you can maybe pull out some text behind that if they're doing white.
Well, if I had the original document.
Yeah.
So there you can go and examine the documents in person.
Nice.
We do have that option.
Can they let you scan it?
Well, they would give you a copy of it. Yeah, you can get whatever you want.
Like the original one that they put the white out on. They let you see that?
Well, I don't know. I haven't done that yet.
That'd be rad because you can just take your own scanner and stick that on there and be like, "Thanks, dude," and then you just pull the black ink from the white from the backside and.
No, I get you. But you got to go there, and you're more than likely being watched.
Who cares? What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
But here's the thing: is they're doing something. So what I like is that and there was a while where I was getting documents that said no record found, no record found, no record found, and I'm like, what? There's got to be a record. There's got to be something. Why aren't you doing anything? And then all of a sudden I got one, and that was in 2019, a declassified secret document where some planes, I don't remember the names, I don't have the documents in front of me, so for an episode we'll talk about the document.
Yes.
But these planes had responded to a bright light chasing an aircraft in the sky at a high rate of speed when it wasn't detected on radar.
Nice.
And within the service document, it gives specific details about, more things after this. There's evidence that shows that a response was made and an investigation was done. But of course, the pilots didn't show up when the object was there because the pilot who reported it saw it, made the report, and then there's some time to get the birds in the sky and then go and investigate in the air. So it's very highly unlikely that the object is not still there. It's gone. So even the pilots in the professional military are investigating a civilian report without any evidence.
That's amazing. How is that even? But they got nothing else to do, so might as well just let them do it.
Well, here's the interesting thing: is I shared that document with Paul Hellyer before he passed at Alien Cosmic Expo.
Yeah.
I gave a copy to Richard Dolan too. We had a discussion about it, and Hellyer looked at me with as if I had three heads and said, "How did you get this? Why do you have this?" And I was just like, "I don't know. I thought you would answer that question. That's why I'm giving it to you." Right? What does this mean? And he's looking at me like, "Why do you have this?" And the thought is that there are people in which they want the information to go to, and they so they maybe I asked so many times in so many certain ways, and then we finally got something, and now I'm putting it out. Now I'm doing the stuff with it, and maybe that's why I'm lucky more often now, is because they're seeing what we're doing with the information, they're seeing what we're doing and how we're doing that, and it becomes helpful. The interesting thing with Hellier, though, is said no threat on it, on the as the identification of the object, said no threat.
Wow.
And Hellier had
No
told
threat.
me, he said, in order for that to be considered no threat, and he pulls me close, the old man that he is, and he says, and he looks dead in the eyes, he says, they have to know what it is. And from there, I'm thinking, I go back and look at it, it's a bright light that reported by the pilot, a bright light that chased an object, chased a plane at the same height and altitude, without any presence on radar. So we have evidence of setting out the birds to respond, fighter planes, mind you, to respond to this. But they did an investigation to say no threat. Now, does that mean perhaps because it wasn't there and they couldn't capture it, so it's just not a threat, it was there and it was gone? Or do they know what it is?
That's always a good part. I think if they do know what it is, it's amazing. Well, it's like if they've known what it is for a long time and they can't do anything about it. That's kind of like where I'm leaning a lot to too. Is like, man, we know this is here. It's been here forever. We can't do anything about it. It's just going to do whatever it wants to do.
If I were to speculate, because it's so close to the border, that perhaps what we're seeing in our skies is American, and perhaps that's why we're giving, or other foreign adversaries, or we're seeing stuff. We're just unable to get to it and to investigate. We don't know what it is because it's coming from all these other countries and stuff like that too. Yeah. So we pass it off, and then there's the investigation, and somebody should know what it is.
But you guys just give it right to the Americans. So the Americans but when we get it, we'd be like, hey, yo, that's ours.
I don't know.
That could be part of it, right?
There is, we need to get Linda Moulton Howe in on this conversation, but there was bodies retrieved, that she always talks about, and they landed in Canada, and then we gave them to the United States. Yeah, that's a conversation we could have. Right. So there's so much. See what I'm saying? Like, we on the border, and we even share this data. So we're at the time. We're going to bring CC in here. I just want to kind of preface or summarize that this episode was off the cuff, live, unscripted, thrown together, an idea that we wanted to have. I'm exhausted. That's at the end of my day. So it may not be necessarily reflected in the format that we want, but this is that generalized idea that what we're about to bring forward with this series, with this program. And we're going to actually bring in documents, because I don't have any sources here, and we can actually get down and be factual about it and link everything. John, you want to say anything before I bring in?
I think it's great. I think it's I think we're going to hopefully get engagement from everybody else outside of our borders, and get some type of correlated data, and see if we can make something happen. I think the database you got going on is amazing. I think we should dump it all in there and see what spits out. We got to call Jacques Vallée and see if we can borrow his database.
Well, if you can get a hold of him, go ahead. I need to run my ultra spectrum classification system by him. I want to see what he thinks of it.
That'd be rad. I'm sure he would be down to check it out, man.
Well, someone's got to find him. So ring that bell. All right.
I know a guy who might know a guy.
Well, if you know a guy, well, that's the beauty of being Masons. We know guys. We know people.
I think I know a guy who knows a guy.
I don't know.
Right. Cece, you were doing great with the intro. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for doing
Am I muted? No.
No, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. Well, that was fascinating. Thanks so much. I really enjoyed it, so I look forward to the next episodes for sure. How often are these going to occur? Do we know yet?
At least once a quarter.
John said he was going to do one every single day for the rest of the day.
At least once a quarter.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. We'll do a power show four times a year. We'll start with that. That's fair. So you got within the next 3 months will be the next episode. That seems right.
And we have a lot of documents to look at.
Yeah, for sure, and get it all together. So awesome job. Well done. Thank you so much, John, and thank you for sponsoring this event.
Oh yeah.
Where can people find you?
Oh boy, I'm on Twitter a lot. It's just my name. Yeah. Yes, Jon Majerowski. Yeah, I'm hanging out there. I'm on YouTube. You can see UFOs on the Level, and I think I'm at every podcast platform. So Apple and Spotify and all the other ones, and I'm all over that stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be cool. I got a cool show coming out. Brother Scott Walter Haley Ramsey. I talked to them in Scotland a couple of days ago.
Did he bring up Holden? Did he get any new stuff with Holden?
Yeah, we talked about Holden a little bit.
Okay, I gotta see that. When is that coming out?
I don't know if I can get off my shoulders and get it done by the end of the week sometime. I'm guessing. Tomorrow's Friday, so we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. And then the next time, maybe we'll bring him in. Maybe get a Scotland perspective where he is. Like where I know he's American, but he travels.
Oh yeah, he's over there hanging out right now doing some fun stuff. But yeah, no, it's gonna be rad. So yeah, I'm all over. I'm actually all over. I tweet a lot. I don't know why. I tweet less than I did before.
Really?
Yeah, really? She's like, really? Yeah,
I'm just joshing you.
No, for sure.
Okay.
It's fun.
I just want to tell everyone that to enter the Experiencer Mystery Box Draw, we are giving away a free box of goodies. It's a mixed mystery box. The magic letter for this episode is N, like nowhere. So collect your letters from each segment of E-Day schedule. To get your magic word, you have to unscramble all the letters that were given in each episode and then submit your best guess for what you think the magic word is to admin@tessacan.org. So admin@TESACAN.org to enter your name into the draw. And we will mail that to you directly. That's in there.
I'm just gonna ruin the surprise. I'm gonna put a copy of this in there. I will sign it personally for you two, and to let John know and all the other folks. These are the documents that I talk about and how I break them down. This is a good history lesson for you about Canada. There's lots of stuff in here.
Look there's color photos. I want Ryan needed 10 of those. Can you give me 10 of those?
We'll talk.
I'll put you on my visa. We'll just get him sent over here.
So I'll be throwing in one of those as well.
That's beautiful.
So you can actually get a Canadian perspective because a lot of our followers are Americans. So there is a high chance that the winner might be American. So we'll teach you a thing or two about Canada.
God, is the border open? Can I come up there? Not yet.
Yeah, it is.
You guys want my COVID? I mean, I don't know.
No.
I don't have it anyway. I'm just asking. I don't know what's going on with the border.
I remember. Yeah, we almost did. We were worried about that at one time.
Yeah.
That one show you did a test immediately after the show.
I did it after the show. It's like, I think I'm going to die.
You were fading away in the middle of the show. We're like,
I was. I just kept drinking, though. It was the only thing that kept me alive. It's just what... It just kills and neutralizes it. I think deep down, I don't know what part of it just gets you.
Well, it's okay. Like as the ladies say, you're pretty on the eye, so that's why you're getting the ratings up.
Stop it! You're making me blush. Page 1492. That's the big thing in the NDAA.
Okay.
Passed.
Chantal?
Excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys. You guys are going to do another show?
Well, so what I was going to say is, again, the magic letter for this episode is N. And stay tuned for 11 p.m. Eastern time for the Tessa E-Day event closer, where you'll get your final letter. So a reminder, there are 8 letters in total that comprise of the magic word. So join us then, and you'll get that final letter. And stay tuned. And thanks again.
And at 11:30, I will be showing you 3 minutes of our Ufology documentary that sets the tone from a Canadian private investigating perspective on how shady ufology is. So tune in and see that at 11:30 tonight. Thanks, John. See you later.
It's in Canada. I love you guys.
Well, no, it's about the world. It's Canada's perspective from watching what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be a shit show. I can't. You guys, from what you guys are looking at,
great. And it's too late. Like we're releasing it. We're talking about it now, but the evidence has already been collected. And the only thing you guys could do now is redeem yourself.
Good luck with that.
It's your business. It's your property. Your assets are worth protecting. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services specializes in patrolling and inspecting residential or commercial property against fire, theft, vandalism, terrorism, and illegal activity. People and buildings are monitored to prevent crime. Keep your property, your people, and your assets safe from threat. Our elite staff are dual licensed private investigators and security guards. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services. Go to blacklightiss.com.
same thing that draws aliens to our planet is the same thing that draws us to others. Exploration, curiosity, sustainability of life. That's why we go. It would make sense as to why they're visiting here.
Travis! Quit playing around, man. Get back here. Travis!
The last thing I remember was this numbing shock. Stunning sort of a feeling. Very powerful.
Get away from me!
I was just out of my mind with fear, just screaming the whole time.
It's been theorized that aliens prefer remote areas because they don't want to attract attention. Whatever it is that they're doing, they would want to do that in a less populated area. There are multiple accounts of the same thing from people from all over the world. People that do not know each other, do not live in the same cultures, and they're all looking up, they're all seeing things in the sky. So it would be naive of us to think that
Ryan is one of Canada's leading new UFO investigators. He conducts and oversees UFO investigations on a constant basis and was really taken by his research. He's compiled a tremendous amount of data regarding UFOs in Canada. Just as interesting, he really goes over how UFO investigations are done and what are some of the mistakes that people make when they submit evidence. Note for starters, don't edit your videos or photos before you send them. If you want to hear more follow-up conversation between Ryan and myself, you can go to richardolemembers.com, where we have a candid conversation on ufology, the paranormal, and more. And remember, while we learn and grow and search for the truth, let's be good to each other.
Welcome to the Observation Deck, a state-of-the-art, one-of-a-kind virtual platform that takes video conferencing to the next level by using avatars to navigate a campus, just like you would in real life. First, you install the application and design your very own unique avatar. Then you're free to explore the various areas of the campus at any time from anywhere. There's so many areas and activities to choose from on the platform. There's a 1,000-seat auditorium, a large expo hall, a movie theater, a nightclub, an art gallery, and even a beach. Come attend a conference, or take a class, or hear a lecture. Meet new friends and interact directly with presenters. It's all right here on the incredible Observation Deck campus. Where in the world will you go?
Have you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you? You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today by going to tesacan.org/EA. That's TESACAN.org/EA.